Hi everyone, you're watching the Asian American Herald, a new media network featuring the Asian Americans across the United States. My name is Shruti Natanmai, and I'm a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology, writer and creative who was born and raised in the capital region. This evening, I'm super excited to speak with Ismat Alam, the Comptroller of the town of Niskayuna in New York. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show, and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for allowing me to come and talk to you on your prestigious show to your viewers. And I am really, really honored to be on this show. I've watched your shows quite a bit.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's such a pleasure to have you. So I'd like to start off by asking you to introduce yourself a little bit more to our viewers and tell us about your background. So where did you grow up? What are some of your interests?
Absolutely. So you can tell from my accent, I am from Pakistan. I am from Punjab, Lahore, the place known as well known for its food and its lively colors, very lively people, sick or no sick, COVID or no COVID, they will go and eat out, meet relatives. I was born in a military family. We are 7 siblings. I'm forgotten number 5 among 7, stuck in between. My father passed away when I was very young. My mom, extremely amazing, awesome lady. She raised all of us. So between her and my eldest brother, they raised us. My younger sister was 2.5 years old. My 6 siblings are my pillars of strength, but my mom is my hero, my real hero. She has, especially being in a Muslim minority country, she emphasized, especially for all the girls, 4 of her sisters, she emphasized having great, strong faith in God, strong work ethics, stand up for yourself, and no self-pity. If you want sympathy, don't call my mom. I got married when I was 16 at the end of 10th grade. Within a week, my husband saw me. He proposed through my mom. Next Sunday, we got married. He left on Monday, came here, came back to the States. He was doing his PhD at Stanford in physics. And 6 months later, I came here. It was an adventure for me, but I landed at San Francisco airport and I had his picture in my hand and I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, so I don't even know my husband. I have $50, don't have a relative here. I can't even call my mom. So I just cried. That was 40 years ago. And I'll talk about it a little bit later. What are my interests? As we were talking, Shruti, that my interest is, and still is, my passion is fashion merchandising. After getting married, I just wanted to be a housewife, have tons of kids, design my own clothes, sell them. That was now, and this is now. Different situation. I also found out that I'm a finance nerd. People say, I think that numbers talk to me. I can see the trends, and that's my niche is fixing administrative and fiscal issues for distressed municipalities and not-for-profit, and that's what I have excelled all my life. But my new hobby, which is really great for my soul, is, and I'll talk about it later, is to fight for the racial equity for minorities, for people like us, for people like you, which are not just Black, but they are brown and Asian and purple or whatever that is. And that's what I'm doing. That's what is making me tick right now. We are going to fight for our next generation so they don't face the same discrimination, racism that the first generation Pakistani or Indian Americans have felt their whole life over here. So after getting married, I didn't want to, as I said, I wanted to do fashion merchandising, have babies. 2 weeks later, after coming here, my husband said, "No, you're going to high school." And I said, no. And I did. I went to high school. I had my older son right after that. And then we went to Nashville, different places. Then we ended up moving here. I did my undergrad. I had a young child, a toddler, 2.5-year-old. I worked full time. I went to school full time. We had one car, and I was the cabbie for the family. Just to make the long story short, I did my MBA. My younger son was born there. Right after that, I went to work for General Electric. I was the first female and the youngest manager for the particular center I was. And I faced, to some extent, the same kind of racism. I was woman, I was brown, and I was a Muslim. But my mom, as I said, never give up, have faith in yourself. So I was at 8 years. And then after that, I went to, and before I went on my career, I have to emphasize that I could not have achieved in life where I am without the support of my husband and 2 kids. They never let me fall. They are my biggest encourager. Without having great mentors, like in my life, who taught me, who took me under their wings, like Dennis Tamerman, who was the CFO of General Electric, like past mayor of Schenectady, Brian Statton, who is the director of Canal Corp, Sharon Jordan, and right now there's a councilwoman Denise McGraw, and my supervisor, Syed, who is half Pakistani and half American. I went to different places. I worked there, learned how to do different, bring the best practices back to where I was working at that time. Few years down the road, I became the internal control officer for all the SUNY system admin for all the 64 campuses. That's where I learned how to fix issues, administrative, operational, and also fiscal. I went to Skidmore College as the finance director. I managed the endowment of $200 million. God, I'm old. Don't even calculate my age at this time. From there, my first gig at the local government was at City of Schenectady. I was their commissioner of finance and administration for 8 years. Where I've been, I have resolved the fiscal issues, but this was at a different level. So they had a $10.7 million deficit. 4 years down the road, we had money in the bank. Our fund balance was $10.2 million. We increased the revenues, did a lot of good things, but the other biggest thing was we increased the credit rating. Where I've been, we have enhanced the credit rating, like with S&P or Moody's, for at least 3 or 4 organizations. From there, I was asked by Mayor Kathy Sheehan to go with her as the budget director of City of Albany. I was there for 2 years. I'm also pretty good at negotiating contracts, union contracts with police and fire and your CSCA. At City of Albany, we had, I think, about 12 unions. So talk about that. So that was fun times. And at the end of when I was at City of Albany, my husband got sick. So I had to make the most difficult decision, put my career on hold, and I got a smaller job as a CFO with a not-for-profit. He's better now, and I'm extremely fortunate that I'm with Niskayuna right now as the Comptroller, as the HR and town compliance officer. Mm-hmm. Just found out that I'm the COVID officer too, just to let you know.
Yeah. You've held so many positions, and I mean, that's a very impressive career that you've had. And so I guess what is an achievement that you're most proud of from those past positions that you've held and so many different projects that you've worked on?
I would actually talk about 2 of them. I mean, as I said, I've worked for corporate world, higher education, not-for-profit, local government, and the state, because I wanted to try everything. But I would say professionally, my most satisfying was at City of Schenectady because they were in distress. So we were going to, actually, the first year we borrowed money to pay our employees. 8 years down the road when I was leaving, everybody was getting fixed salary increases. We negotiated contracts with police and fire department, all the other unions where they were, everybody was happy. We had very strong contracts. There was no friction between the administration and the unions, the credit rating. But I would say at town of Niskayuna, it's at a different level. I feel I have a voice. I'm encouraged, and I am asked to join different committees and different endeavors. I don't know whether you know about the governor's executive order 203. So basically, I don't know whether your viewers know about it. Just to briefly, after the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and many senseless lives of minorities, the governor, at the hand of the police departments, the governor said, okay, enough, that's enough, no more death. And the minority said, stop it, just stop it, let us live. There's a shift in government paradigm right now where the commitment is fixing the police department. So basically the executive 203 says, hey, municipalities, anybody who has a police department, look at the practices and the policies of your police department and see if they have implicit or explicit biases towards the minorities. So there's a bylaw, there has to be a committee that has to be formed by the supervisor, by the mayors, whoever they are. And they have to include community members, especially of different races. And so they write a report. And then it has to go to public for public comment. And there's a public hearing on it. And before April 1st, it has to be adopted by the board or the council. And it has to reach the governor's office April 1st. Otherwise, he's not going to give you a state aid. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. So, and that is a thing that was much needed for people like us, for our rights. Our rights have been violated. There's surveillance going on. There is, and you know that there is racial profiling going on. So I was extremely honored and lucky that our town board wanted to go a step ahead, a step further. So they asked me to do an RFP and hire a consultant to do the racial equity audit of the police department. And I oversaw that. That took about three months, I believe. And during that time, I was threatened for that because it's a big, huge political thing that we are talking about. There were some brave people who came, and not just the racial, not from the different minorities, but they were white and all kind of different people with different ethnic backgrounds who came and supported the minorities. So the audit was done, it was adopted and blessed by the town board. And then as part of the executive order, our supervisor has created the collaborative, which is basically to look at the police and come up with a plan to reduce and overcome the racial implicit and explicit bias and make sure that the police department is taking care of the community, especially of the minorities. I'm a member of that. Actually, I'm one of the 3 town officials who are on that. There were about 29 people. Going back to the CNA audit, they found that there implicit and explicit bias. Like, for example, in town of Niskayuna, for the arrest data, there are about 2.7% more blacks arrested than white people. Residents are arrested. So on Tuesday, it's going to be adopted by the town board. And what we are saying is that we are with the blues. We support our police departments throughout the country, but we are human beings, just like you. Your new formula And the new mantra should be the safety and protection of all community members, regardless of their color. And I'm extremely fortunate that I am now appointed by the supervisor and town board to be on the task force, which is going to look at all the recommendations and actually come up with an implementation plan.
That's incredible.
It's exciting, but as I said, for the first time, there is a voice. People are hearing us.
Right.
And this is our time, and we are going to fight for our next generations like you guys and my kids.
Right. No, that's incredible that you're working on that, and that's in progress, and that conversation is being had. I think that's great. So in this impressive career that you've had and all these things that you're working on, obviously there have an impressive career like that is always filled with roadblocks and hurdles that you have to jump over. And so I guess, what has been the biggest setback in your career thus far that you've had to overcome?
That's really a good question. I would say personally, when my husband got really sick, because I was at the prime of my career in local government. So I had to resign, and I had to step my responsibilities to a different, smaller organization, different type of organization.
Right.
There was a time when I was very well known in Capital District, more well known than I am right now, and I was sought after. I mean, things have changed. But I know that I made the right choice, the right decision for my family. And that's something, if I have to do all over again, absolutely, in a heartbeat, I will do that again. On a professional basis, I mean, as I mentioned, my mom would never let me give up. There have been times when I gave up. I would say one of them would be the racism and the bias. But okay, there are good side, bad side. There were times when my white friends, they protected me, they took care of me. But there are other, white people, and there are many minority of those, I would say, very small fraction, which gave me a hard time. But you have to overcome that. Cannot just give up. You have to stand up for yourself.
Right.
And that would be my message for the next generation. Don't give up. Have belief in yourself. Have faith, and do the right thing.
And how did you go about overcoming that?
Faith, family, great work ethics, and ultimately my mother. I will tell her, I will talk to her. Giving you an example. So when I became the first youngest manager, I had to oversee a team of about 18 people. The first day I went in there, it's like, hey, how are you? Welcome. And the first thing was that, we don't want you. You are younger than us. You were in the FMP program, so you worked with us. You talk funny. You look funny. We don't understand you. You have a communication issue. So like any respectable person, I went home and I cried. And I called my mom, and my mom said, be a leader, not a manager. Think from your brain and not from your heart. You work with them, you roll your sleeves, and you bleed with your people. You tell them you work 100 times harder than they do to prove that you are one of them, and you are not against them. 3 years down the road, I was given a plaque by the same people who did not want me there, saying the best leader we ever had. And after that, I've received that from at least 3 different organizations given by the team members, I would call them. And as leaders, as colored leaders, minority leaders, we really have to think about it. If we are not doing diverse racism, so we are not being biased against the white. So you have to make the right decision, which is good for the whole organization.
Right.
And that, I mean, you have to just prove yourself. You fall, you get up again. There's no other choice.
Yeah, for sure. So going along those lines, what's an experience that you've had professionally that's impacted you the most as a person, even outside of the realm of work?
I really would say my current job.
Okay.
Because the political atmosphere is right now for the change. We are given a voice. We are there. People are hearing us. Our president is supporting us. Even I mean, another of my favorite is the DiNapoli. He is supporting the minorities. Every organization is looking at their policies, at their not just the police department, at their policies, hiring practices, their pay practices, to see how we can think about the minorities, take care of them for a change. So I think that is the most that has personally impacted me. And that's what I'm thinking, the future is going to be doing that, because before that I would just focus on myself, my family, my career, my this and my that. But this is the time to give back to the community.
Right.
So as a part of that, I am currently I'm talking to Schenectady School District to see if we can start a mentorship program with them for the minority students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are you most excited to work on in the future? Or is there, obviously you have mentioned some particular issues and just racial justice and that you're eager to address, but is there anything else that you're specifically eager to work on?
There are two things. As I said, I'm just a nerdy finance person, and the numbers talk to me, the numbers whisper. So I'm looking forward to fixing community, especially after COVID, financial and operational impact, how to come up with new strategies, how to come up with different game plan, how to shift strategically, make plans for that short term, long term. So to make sure the economy is doing better, the employees feel safer, and all the employees are safe and secure, and they feel that the workplace is the place that they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
They are listened to, they are heard, they are motivated, no matter who they are. There is integrated structures, processes in place. Now I'm talking about the finance guy, right? Fix basically the issues. I think COVID has made a huge dent in economy, and the piece and everybody's employees, residents, mothers, father, kids, parents, grandparents, at a very personal impact. I've lost quite a few members of my family back home. I've lost friends over here. So I think that's the time for healing. And the second thing is, I'm going to continue fighting now that I know how to. I have found venues to join other groups, other people in the community, and fight for the rights, be part of the policy decision making where minorities are concerned. And when I really say that, I really want our next generation, like kids of your age who are second generation Americans over here, we really want them to feel that they're part of the fabric of the society. They are not outsiders. So
Right.
I think that, and obviously fashion merchandising.
Yes, and do you wish to work on anything in the realm of fashion in the future?
I would love to, if I get the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that is, once again, that's my mom's dream. That all of our sisters, we have something together. Everybody has a different talent, They are extremely creative, talented, especially my younger sister. She has a beautiful designs of fusion between ethnic and Western and typical Pakistani clothes and jewelry. My second sister, she knows how to design jewelry. I am just the distributor, and I'm the business person. I'm the business mind. Absolutely. That's actually was always my dream, but my dream has shifted. I didn't even know that I knew numbers until I went to SUNY Albany. I was like, oh, I'm doing really good in finance. Then I graduated magna cum laude. I didn't even, after 10th grade, with broken English, I still have a little bit, my ethnic Pakistani accent comes in. I never knew I liked numbers. I did not know until I started working for SUNY System Administration what I want to be. It took me a while to find myself. And yeah, absolutely. That's my passion. Same thing as fighting for the minorities is my new passion. And numbers are my, I don't know, they just give me peace of mind. But ultimately, I'm the one who is shopping at 2 a.m. from QVC and HSN and you name it, because I'm stressed. And looking at different designs, Pakistani designs, you understand
I
the
totally understand. Stress shopping is unlike anything else.
Oh my God, yeah. Food for the soul, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's show. It was incredible talking to you and hearing all about your career and your interests and your journey of how you got to where you are today. It's really impressive and inspiring to hear about your story.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure and honor, and I hope to see you soon again.
Yes, definitely. And thank you everyone else for joining us this evening on the Asian American Herald. I am Shruthina Tanmay, and our wonderful guest for today was Ismat Alam. Please send us your story ideas and look for the recording of this show on our Facebook page. Have a good evening, and thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.